Good evening, every pony and every creature. Welcome to tonight's stream on Oh No Troublemaker phase. Welcome, everyone. I'm not going to kind of go into the news in the beginning here because we have an intense stream for you guys tonight. This thing is like really in depth. There's a lot that we have to cover, and I saw someone on the Reddit, Sprite Pony, said, "But Drada, troublemakers are villains," and I'm like, LOL. So, anyways, tonight's stream is going to be really intense, and that's just the way it's going to be. I have a lot of information to cover in this one. So we're actually going to jump right into it. And we're actually going to start out with a correction about last stream. About something that I had covered. So there was this card that I had put on the previous stream during about the ready phase called Perfect Teleport. And there's similar cards that happen with this too. Called at the start of any phase, banish one of your friends. At the start of the next turn, put that friend into play. Okay, so a card that would come into play at the start of the turn, or things like Changeling Mimics and stuff, happen during what's called the pre-priority processing window. This happens at the beginning of every single priority step. And you're going to want to keep that in mind, especially for tonight's stream. There's going to be a lot of priority windows in tonight's stream, so it's going to be intense. This is going to be a lengthy one, guys, so it's definitely going to be intense. I have Twilight here to make sure I stay on track. Hopefully we can stay on track and we don't have Drada going off on some random tangent. Did you hear about the blind reactions Drada's been doing? Oh no! Anyways, getting back on track. I just wanted to cover that real quick to talk a little bit about the pre-priority processing. So what is pre-priority processing? Pre-priority processing is when all of the triggers that would occur before the actual priority window. So any card that's already in play that says, or already in effect that says, at the start of this phase, or at the start of this specific phase, and if it's already in play. So if it's like at the start of the Troublemaker phase, this card will trigger. It triggers before you have the option to do anything else. Because there is a pre-priority processing. So, or at the start of the phase, if the moment that priority window comes up in the ready phase, you have to process everything that's already in effect before you can go ahead and choose what cards to play. So things like Changeling Mimics are already in effect by the time that you'd be able to play something like Interdimensional Portal, because it happens during that pre-processing phase. I had totally forgotten last stream about the pre-priority processing, and it's one of the things that's definitely confusing about the priority steps in the game. So I wanted to get that out to you guys before we jumped full-fledged into this stream. So we ended on the note of the draw phase. Heart of the cards, guide me, I draw. And then we move into the next step. And the next step is called the Troublemaker phase. So at the very beginning of the Troublemaker phase, the moment the Troublemaker phase starts, there is a priority window coming up, if you did not know. Right after the draw, once you end the ready phase, you begin the Troublemaker phase. And we basically have a priority window. Anything can happen during this time, as you guys know. And we get this priority window, which means that right at the start, we have to do a pre-priority processing of any troublemakers that are already in play. Things like the King Sombra normal Troublemaker that says at the start of the Troublemaker phase, exhaust a random character to gain an AT. You have to do this before you can play any cards. because it happens during the pre-priority processing. So it comes first. Then a priority window opens. Now your opponent can play cracking the case. You could play a card like cracking the case. You could play any immediate during this time. You could like flicker your bait and switch during this time by using things like interdimensional portal to bait and switch to remove that villain or epic so your opponent can't challenge it. During this time, you are allowed to do that. And that's at the start of the Troublemaker phase. So we already get a priority window. Before anything has happened, we get a priority window. It's like, okay. And then when I was showing you guys that priority window, I think I was supposed to talk about something else. But anyways, so after the start of the Troublemaker phase, okay, yes, I was supposed to talk about priority windows at the ready phase with that, but I had already covered that. Anyways, Troublemaker phase starts. I messed up my stream. Troublemaker phase starts. We get a priority window. Once again, anything can happen. Now we move on to the next step. So what is the next step after everyone's done their pre-priority processing and uncovering and stuff? Or before we uncover, sorry, after everyone's done playing whatever they want to play. Remember that you go through the pre-priority processing, and then you can play anything. And then your opponent chooses whether they want to play something if you pass the priority. If they choose to do nothing, then you have a chance to potentially do something. If you choose not to do anything, it's assumed that no one will do anything. Technically, you could keep passing priority back and forth just to see if your opponent will do something, but generally that's frowned upon. Usually, if I choose to do nothing, my opponent chooses to do nothing, and then I choose to do nothing, it's assumed we just move on past the priority window. However, you could try to say, I'm going to let you do something first, and if you choose to do nothing, then I'll do it, and that's assumed that you could play something during that priority window. That was really, really fast, so let me just put it in simple terms. If neither player wants to do anything during the priority window, move to the next step. If someone does want to do something, just do it. Alright, enough of that. Now Here's the uncover rules. And remember, this is before any priority step, anything at all. If there are troublemakers with villain keyword, troublemakers can't be uncovered. This is very important and very confusing. And I recently messed up on this in a game. I thought that it wasn't like this. But if there's a troublemaker with the villain keyword, troublemakers can't be uncovered. Now keep this in mind. This is very important. I wish that I hadn't messed up on this ruling earlier this week because it would have changed things. But if there is a troublemaker with the villain keyword, troublemakers can't be uncovered. That is very, very important to note. All right? So that means if you have something okay, so I just realized that I had forgotten to put in. Sorry guys, I just realized I've forgotten to put in the audio part for my uncover, so give me a second, I'll fix that and we'll go back and do it. Okay, so let's try this again. I've been having a lot of tech issues tonight, it seems like, and I just wasted everyone's last 4 minutes. I apologize for the tech issues. Real quick, I just talked about a whole bunch of stuff, and probably none of you guys ever heard that. There are 3 types of troublemakers. Troublemaker epic villains, troublemaker epics, and regular troublemakers. When these cards, when a villain uncovers, you frighten each friend at that problem. That includes your friends. Troublemaker epics, when they uncover, they just cover up both sides of the problem. So villains and epics, when they uncover, cover both your opponent's confront requirement and yours. A regular troublemaker, when it uncovers, just covers your opponent's side, their confront requirement at that problem. So when you play a troublemaker for 1AT, you have to choose which problem it's going to. Alright. Sorry about that. I had gone in a little bit more depth than before, but that's okay. That's the basics of the 3 types of troublemakers. The uncover rules specifically state that if a troublemaker with the villain keyword, troublemakers can't be uncovered. So if you have a villain in play, or that's currently face up, troublemakers at that problem, not if there isn't one at the other problem, you would still uncover a troublemaker. It's just if there's a troublemaker with a villain keyword at a specific problem, troublemakers at that problem can't be uncovered. So you can still uncover a troublemaker at the other problem that doesn't have a villain. That's very important. You would still uncover. And the next, so this is after the priority window of the troublemaker phase. The first priority window. We're in the uncover step. So now, if you're the turn player, you choose which order the troublemakers will uncover. However, here's the kicker. Any troublemakers that have an ability that happens when they uncover, you do not uncover them at this time. You're just choosing the order in which they uncover. So this is very important for cards like Storm King, the Troublemaker Storm King, Epic, or things like Queen Chrysalis. Oh, what's it called? It's the one that moves everything home. It's very key about this part, how you sequence them. And actually, it's more important during the next step. So after you choose the order in which your troublemakers uncover, which means that they're all going to uncover before any of their abilities activate. Now we get the priority window. After we've uncovered all possible troublemakers that could be uncovered. Priority window. Pre-priority processing happens again. And what happens is that now we have to process all uncovered troublemakers triggers. If you uncover a Starlight exposed inequality, which moves a character to the problem, if you uncovered a Storm King, you would still have to pay +2 to move your character there. And that is because they are processing simultaneously. So Storm King's ability is already in effect when it uncovers, so it's actually faster than your exposed inequality because of that pre-priority processing. Now the priority window happens after the pre-priority processing. During this time, players can play anything as usual. They can either bait and switch the problem by using interdimensional portal. They can cracking the case. Whatever your opponent or you wants to do during this time, you can do it. Then, after the priority window, we get a very fun step. Now, if we have friends at the problem, if you have a friend, at least one friend at the problem, it doesn't matter whether it's frightened, it doesn't matter, sorry, not friend, character. As long as you have one character at the problem, you may challenge that troublemaker. Now, note, it's not that you can't have, it's not that, so you can't challenge it. And I'm being very specific here because challenging is different from confronting. These are two separate entire terms. And you have to remember that you're challenging a troublemaker. You're not confronting a troublemaker. You're challenging it. So, this is very important. When you move to this step, you choose, if there's two troublemakers in play, you have to choose one that has a friend there to challenge. Face-off time! Fight me! And apparently this one here got a little bit messed up, but that's okay. Face-off time! Fight me! So we move off to the face-off. The most confusing part of this game, and this is very important, and we're going to go over it in this stream. I didn't want to go over it in this stream, and you're probably like, but Drada, face-offs are simple. And I'm going to look at you like with this face like, they're not simple! Twilight, why? Anyways, face-offs are probably the most complicated system in this game. It is what makes this game so confusing. And I'm glad we're going over it now because it needs to be gone over now before we go over the other phases in later streams. So what happens in the face-off? Well, you just chose to challenge a troublemaker. Face-off happens. Here are the steps to a face-off. Right as we start, I just got a message from somewhere and I'm wondering what. Weird. Okay. I don't know what that was about. Apparently I got a message somewhere and I don't know what it was. I will have to figure it out later. Okay. Anyways, the way this works is once we start the face-off, what happens next is that we get this another priority window. Once again, we go through the pre-priority processing, priority window happens. So your opponent can play something like a barrel through or a bailout or something like that. And that will actually lessen your power during the face-off. So once again, we start this priority window process. And it goes through the same procedures as I've talked about in previous priority windows. So we're just going to move forward. After the priority window, both players flip a card. You flip the table. Flip a card. Or we flip the table, whatever. So we flip the table and we add up the power that's currently in play. So the way this works is during the Troublemaker phase is when you flip the card. Let's say the Troublemaker is a Trixie highest level unicorn. You're choosing to challenge it. You flip a card, your opponent flips a card. Alright, the way this works is you are the one challenging the Troublemaker. If you're the one challenging it, you add your power of your flip to your characters, to the total power of all your characters at that Troublemaker. So let's say you had a 4 power friend at that Troublemaker. You flip, let's say, a Makeover, an event that has 6 power. You add 6 plus 4 because your friend has 4 power. Let's say your opponent flips a 4. They take their 4 power and they add that to the Troublemaker because you're the one challenging it. So basically what you do is that you add them both up and they both will equal 10, all for intents and purposes for future parts of this stream. Okay, so you flipped a card, they flipped a card. Now, once those totals are added, before we get into what happens when you have equal power to both, let's talk a little bit about, let's say it's your opponent's turn and they choose the challenge. So it's the reverse this time. This time the card you're flipping, if they're challenging the Troublemaker, so it's whoever's challenging the Troublemaker applies their flipped card to their characters, whoever's challenging. The other person is flipping to apply that power to the Troublemaker. And that's what makes the Troublemaker phase a little bit confusing, is because of the way that we add power during it, which makes it a little bit different than other face-offs that we'll be talking about throughout the series here. So let's get into the next step. Let's say we have equal power, but we have a friend in play called Rescue Party. Now I know, now before everyone says, but Drada, it's not for power. I know that. For all intents and purposes, I am actually referring to this card's special ability. You challenge the Troublemaker. This card specifically says flip an additional card during face-offs involving this card. When you challenge a Troublemaker, you are in a face-off. So, before anything else, this card's ability is going to kick in, which means we flip all the tables. Yes, we flip all the tables, guys. We flip them all, and yeah. Flip as many tables as you have that ability. So, because you're required to flip an additional card, you must flip that card before your opponent has a chance to respond. If you have anything that says flip an additional card during face-offs, you must flip an additional card before anything else can happen. You do not have a choice unless there's an ability that allows you to make that choice. But we'll get to that here in a moment. So you flip 2 cards because you have to. Then we get another priority window. Once again, pre-priority processing happens, and once again, we get a priority window. So, once again, let's say you win the face-off. But your opponent doesn't want you to score the points. They can play a cracking the case to banish your Troublemaker. And you won't score anything because the Troublemaker is no longer there, thus ending the said face-off. If you're about to win, your opponent can do that. Or they can bait and switch your problem or whatever. So I've been talking a lot about bait and switch. Real quick, bait and switch says replace, when this card enters play, replace this problem. Which means that the Troublemaker would go away because your problem was replaced. That's a topic for another time, a little bit later in the series. So let's say we went through all this, and in the end of it all, if both players tie in power, and please forgive my terrible spelling there, I realize there's another R on another. I was really hastily putting together this stream, and apparently I didn't spell check, because OBS apparently doesn't do a good job of it. But if it's a tie, both players will flip another card, and then another priority window happens. So this will continue. So once again, we both flip a card, then the priority window happens. And let's say they decide to do something or whatever, and if it's still a tie, you flip again, then another priority window happens. The priority windows will always happen after each tie of the flip during a face-off. Once we finally decide, once we get past and we finally have a winner of the face-off, once we finally are able to determine who won the face-off, there's yet again another priority window. So you haven't won the face-off against that Troublemaker yet. Your opponent still has a chance to respond, to counter you. And that is why face-offs are so frustrating to go over. There are all these pre-priority processings, all these priority windows. There's all this ridiculousness going on. And once again, before we can officially end the face-off, we once again end up in a situation where we still have a chance to respond to the face-off. If no one responds, we move to, finally, it's over. Face-offs are over. I'm going to pull out a nice book and lay here, guys. I'm done. That was intense. I need a good book. Just like Twilight. But all in all, guys, it's finally we are done with the face-off section. That was intense. That was lengthy. But guess what, guys? We're not done with the Troublemaker phase. That was all from fighting one Troublemaker. Holy ponies. Ponies, ponies, ponies. Creatures and ponies and everyone. I feel like I just went to Twilight's friendship school and spent like a whole day in class. Does anyone else feel like that? Because that was intense. But we're not done. And to save time and to prevent me from going any more insane than Drata already is, we do it again! Troublemaker number 2. Do you want to challenge and go through all those steps again? I know I don't. But seriously, face-off time again! Fight me! No, seriously, fight me. No, I'm just kidding. You're probably like, but Drata, I don't want to fight you. And I'm going to be like, cool. Because I'm out of energy, guys. This is a lot of information. I realize that. I am not going to go through all of the face-off steps again. We just went through it all. So you go through all that process again. through all the priority windows, through all of the troublemakers and stuff. And it's a really complicated procedure, but when you actually play the game, it looks a lot easier than it actually sounds. And I'm trying to break down these terms and the different steps in different priority windows and stuff when you can respond, because it is a very complex game, though when you're playing it actually through, it doesn't look that challenging, but it really is. And it is really complex, and it's knowing when those priority windows are. So, we just get done with challenging all the troublemakers. We went through all the face-offs. Well, guys, the troublemaker phase still hasn't ended. You managed to defeat or fail against all those troublemakers. And one more thing, I should probably go back and say, if you lose a troublemaker face-off, the game sends one of your characters home. Sends, does not move, sends. So let's say both troublemakers are in play still. You get to this step. You just defeated it. You just got done challenging one of the other troublemakers. You're the one that challenged. And all of a sudden you realize you failed against your first troublemaker. So the first troublemaker, let's say you defeat the first troublemaker. You're like, yeah, success, finally. You choose to challenge the second. You say, I'll fight that one too. Fight me, troublemaker. And you lose. Well, you have to take a character at that problem, any character. You must send it home. The game will do this intentionally. So you have to do it, because it's moving at game speed. And the game is faster than anything else. So your character moves home. Nothing you can do about that. You must do it. You do get to choose which character if you have multiple, but you must move it home. After you move that character home, and once all the challenging is done, and you've gone through the challenge step of the troublemaker phase, and you're done in the challenge step, we now move to yet again another priority window. Can you believe it? We're still not done with the troublemaker phase. I can't believe it. I mean, troublemakers seriously are the worst trouble I've ever had to deal with. Oh no, the troublemaker phase. Twilight, are you gonna ever run out of troublemakers to fight? No? Now that's too bad. I was hoping we'd be done. Don't you? No? You mean you actually enjoy fighting T-Rex? What? What's wrong with you, Twilight? Anyways, enough butchering Twilight. Enough butchering my Twilight plushie. As you all know, she is on my lap, trying to keep me straight. Once you go through, once again, the priority window of the final priority window of the troublemaker phase, we then proceed to actually the official. We are done, guys. Luna is going to do a dance. We are finished with the troublemaker phase. We're on to the main phase, and that will be next week. So let's go ahead and jump back up here. And, well, guys, that was intense. It took me about 36 minutes to talk about the troublemaker phase. Still a couple more things to go over. Let me just get a quick sip of water. So, all in all, a very confusing step. As you can see, I had a lot of trouble with it. A lot of people will have a lot of trouble with it. It is a very confusing phase. Probably one of the most confusing phases in the game. So okay, so yeah. Priority, what window? Okay, so they're called priority windows. We are playing cards. You wouldn't believe, those windows. I mean, come on. You got to throw the cards out the window, right? I like that. That's creative there. For some reason, I can't read your name, but because it's in a light green. But anyways, yeah. So I call them priority windows because they're windows of opportunity. That's most competitive players will call it a priority window. I call it a priority window or a priority door of opportunity. So it's like an opportunity for you to do something. So, during this time, during priority steps are really important because you have to allow your opponent to respond during these times. So the reason why there's so many priority windows or priority opportunities during, yeah, it's great for attacking and great for defense. That is very true. So during this time, you can either choose to defend that troublemaker, or you can, during a priority window, you can choose to either play things like in a barrel through, which will allow you to attack the troublemaker or gain advantage in a face-off, or you can choose to defend by playing things like bailout, which exhaust the character, or you can go ahead and use that opportunity to play things like cracking the case to banish the troublemaker. So it gives both players an opportunity during different stages, and knowing where these windows are is very confusing, and it's very hard to keep them kind of straight where they appear. Just so you guys know, I did put this stream together with the priority windows in the appropriate step locations, so please follow the stream if you're looking to discover like the steps of the troublemaker phase. Where the priority windows appear and where I talk about them is the exact steps where they will appear. There is a nice guide that I will be putting at the end of this series that shows each step and where those priorities actually happen. And I'll be doing that after the stream of videos. Like I said, I'm putting these videos together to put together a really lengthy, in-depth description of the turn. So now that we're getting kind of towards the end of the Troublemaker stream, some news that's coming up. I am going to be starting a new series that will be recorded and released on Thursdays. I am doing my blind reactions, which will come out Tuesday. I have the just yesterday, every Saturday I am releasing a Drada Plays a video game series. So look for those if you're interested in video games. As far as MLP content, look for this Thursday will be my first Drada Talks video about MLP, where I will talk about various aspects of MLP during that series. Once again, it will be a stream. I actually won't be streaming it, I'll just be recording it and uploading it both to Twitch and YouTube. My blind reactions are restricted to my YouTube, so I don't bog down the Twitch channel too much. So once again, guys, you can find me at Drada Arcana Gaming on Facebook. You can find me at Drada Arcana on YouTube. I need to post the YouTube link into my Twitch, get them linked up still. I'm still working on that. I am working on several other videos for the future, one of which is I'm planning on doing a documentary with... okay, so what kind of TMs are there? So... let's go over this one more time real quick, because I am getting this question. There are three types of troublemakers. And these types of troublemakers, you have epic troublemakers, troublemaker villains, and regular troublemakers. And as always, there is a difference between these three. But if you're specifically saying the show or whatever, yeah, there's various troublemakers in the show. But Trixie was good when she had the alicorn amulet. That's all I'm gonna say about Trixie. But overall, these are examples of the three different types of troublemakers. There's really no other kind of troublemaker. They're all kind of like these three. You got your normals, your epics, and then your villains. And those are the three kinds of troublemakers. There really aren't any others until we find out otherwise. So, alright guys, as always, this has been a lengthy stream, and this is one of the most complicated phases. I do plan on going over Troublemaker uniqueness violations in the future. But that is going to be on another stream. If I was to put that in here, we would be here all night discussing this uniqueness violation, because that is a complicated mechanic that we will talk probably a little bit about during the main phase, because that's mostly where it's going to matter. But as always, guys, this was a lot of information. I kind of worked through it kind of quickly. I'm sorry about that. It's a complicated phase. It's definitely not one that I enjoy covering, because it's like, but I'm pretty much done here. Trying to think what else to cover. What else is going on with me? Well, as always, guys, if I think of anything, starting September, starting next stream, actually, will be the start of my giveaway. If you are following my Twitch or you're following my YouTube, please subscribe to my YouTube. It gives me a YouTube, it gives me some information about kind of like what's going on and stuff with that channel. Please subscribe to it. Starting next week, next stream, for those that comment and are subscribed to both my Twitch and my YouTube, have a chance to enter in a giveaway. What this giveaway is if you comment on each of the streams every month, everyone that comments has an opportunity to win a UR, a promo, or an SR. I will be giving out one each time. The winner will be chosen at random amongst all the people, and the card I will be giving away will be revealed at the start of next stream. So starting next month, get ready to, if you comment next stream, and then you comment the stream after, or the stream after that, or you leave a comment in either the YouTube or the Twitch, and it can be something as simple as "great stream, man," or giving me your criticism. And I probably shouldn't say that because I'm setting myself up to a lot of hate. I already get enough hate for my Alicorn OC. Don't hate the Alicorn OC, guys. But back on track, the craziness that is Drada. If you are subscribed to the YouTube and the Twitch, you comment on each of the streams on Sunday, you have a opportunity to enter in a giveaway. At the last stream of the month, I will announce the winner of said card. And all you have to do is send an email to drada.arcana@gmail.com. Once again, that's drada.arcana@gmail.com. if you send me your address and the name you would like me to send it to, I will send you your card on Monday after you win the card. So, you could get a free card out of this, guys. I will be giving them away. The first card will, of course, be revealed next stream. Make sure you're subscribed to everything. And, yeah. So that's the big news. We're starting that next week. Twilight's excited. Yes, Twilight. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Okay, so once again, guys, give your love to whatever pony you want. I give my love to Twilight, and I give my love to Luna to help me sleep at night. Once again, you can find me at Drata Arcana Gaming on Facebook. You can find my YouTube channel at Drata Arcana. And as always, guys, if you need to reach me via email, drata.arcana@gmail.com is where you can find me. You can friend me on Facebook. And go ahead and spam out all those messages and stuff. Anyways, guys, I am going to get out of here. It's getting late from where I'm at. And you all and every pony, have a great night. So long.